We're back on Motivation Monday. We have Kira Karlstrom in the house. She is a cancer survivor, professional basketball player, ESPN anchor, currently Capitol Records. Holy cow, like you've got it going on, girl.
Done it all.
I've lived 9 lives already.
Is that the way you feel?
Sometimes I think, I'm 33 years old, and I think sometimes when I tell my story, people are like, whoa, you've done all this in 33 years. So.
Wow.
Were you always an overachiever?
My humble self would say no. My real self, yeah. I think I was always really motivated as a kid. If somebody put something in front of me where they didn't think I could achieve it, I think that gave me so much more motivation to just keep going and achieving things. I'm 5'3", so being a pro basketball player, most people are like, oh, did you play softball or field hockey or?
Wow.
Yeah.
And you were a power forward. Right?
My senior year, I led the nation rebounding for sub-5'5" guards. So
That's mind-blowing.
Wow.
right, yeah.
Mind-blowing.
So rebound. Well, that was the thing. Always, everybody said you're a point guard. Like you shouldn't be in the paint. You shouldn't be rebounding.
Yeah,
and I was like, F you.
So Kira, you're like a walking positive being, like everything you've turned everything that's negative into positivity, basically. So tell us what you think when you think of positivity. What does that mean to you?
I think it has to do a lot with attitude, and I think adapting to change. Because I think I've had a lot of situations in my life where I've had to adapt to change. My basketball career ended because I had a ruptured appendix, and I woke up on the table during surgery. I was playing in Romania. It was a really traumatic experience, and then later, 3 years.
Wait, you woke up in the middle of the surgery?
Yeah.
Oh.
And they got me out of bed within 6 hours of surgery, and I passed out on the floor, and they forgot to give me medicine. My stint was in for 6 days, so it was a really, really traumatizing experience. And when I came back to the States, I was still sick. I had a parasite for 6 months, so I was dealing with that, and I came down with thrush, and I lost like 25 pounds in, the course of 2 or 3 weeks. Wow. And so making that decision, am I going to go back and finish my 2-year contract that I'd only spent 9 or 10 months in, or am I going to go out and get a real job and be an adult? And so that was a big decision for me. And then I was like a year and a half into my first job at ESPN, and I was diagnosed with thyroid cancer.
Wow.
So I think every step in my life has, and since then too, I've had a jaw tumor, I've had, 7 surgeries up until now, and I think there's just been a lot of things for me that I've had to get over, and I think attitude has been the reason why I've gotten through it. Every day I wake up and I'm like, I'm here, I'm alive. I've got something to prove, I've got something to do. And being able to adapt to change in those situations, because, I've lived in New York, I've lived in Connecticut, Romania, LA, Philly, I've been all over the place. And being able to be in different environments with different people, with different attitudes. And I think environment is really key because it's different. So different from New York to LA or Connecticut, or I grew up in Michigan.
Me too.
Really? Where are you from?
Grand Rapids.
Okay. I'm Clarkson, so east side of the state, but.
Well, us Michigan girls, we always like each other.
Right?
I think that there's like a little bit of this like hardworking Michiganer in us. It's like, oh no, we won't stop. We've got some, we're on a mission. There's a purpose here. So Kara, what is your mission?
My mission, I think, in life is to just spread positivity. I think it is to show people that no matter if you do hit rock bottom. I had a really tough year this year. I probably went from the worst year of my life to the best year of my life within 8 months. And I think it is really key just to stay positive and to wake up and know that you do have a purpose here. And I've gone through all of these things in my life for a reason. And part of that, I'm so grateful that I met Cornell and to be able to speak at the summit, because I've always looked at my story like, oh, it's not really that great of a story. I haven't been through that much. I haven't been through like what other people have been through. But at the end of the day, I start talking about it. I'm like, okay, I have been through some things that, people could be inspired by.
Mm-hmm. What do you love most about her, Cornell?
A lot, everything. I always call her my little sister, but I was drawn to her because of her story. And I tell people all the time, like, as human beings, we do the eye test on people. And we do it by stature, we do it by color, we just do the eye test. So when you look at Kira and you're like, oh, she didn't, like she said, oh, she's like a softball player, a soccer player. Yeah. And you find out she's like a Division I basketball player. She played at a college one of my buddies played at. And then you find out her rebounding. And then you start talking to her, you're like, oh, wait a second. She's survived all these traumatic things. And one of those things could have set someone back for the rest of their life. She's gone through all of them. So when I meet people like that, my job, my purpose is to pour into them and let them know how amazing they are. So when she's telling me she didn't have a story, I remember we were in Philly, we were sitting down talking, I'm looking at her, I'm like, are you on crack? like, what are you talking? Like, I was like, are you serious? Like, this is like multiple books. This is speeches. This is. So I said, we're staying in contact, and we have, thank God, for me, because I just love being inspired by her.
I just love that. Where does your positivity and resilience come from? Or who does it come from?
I think a lot from my parents, and I think it really started when I was a kid. I started basketball late. I didn't start until I was 11. Which is late nowadays. Most kids start really young. And I fell in love with basketball. I was a dancer before that. And I wanted to make varsity as a freshman. It was like my #1 goal when I was in middle school. I loved all the girls on the team. It was the first time I'd been like, wow, team sports, this is amazing. And everybody was like, you're too small. You're never gonna make varsity as a freshman. And I made varsity as a freshman and I ended up starting. And throughout that, it was like, the next was, you're never gonna make Division I. And then it was, you'll never go pro. You know, so I think some of that came from so many people not being in my corner. And, you know, my dad and my grandpa never missed anything. And I think that's where a lot of that comes from. It's just the people who I needed in my life to believe in me, believed in me. And I believed in myself. And I think that's one key thing that a lot of people are missing, is that the only person that you really need to believe in you is you.
So powerful. And until you do, people have a hard time believing in you.
Right.
If they do it all. Yeah.
Totally agree. So I think that's where a lot of it comes from, my family and my background and people like Cornell, who's here to tell me that I do have something to say sometimes.
Clearly you
May
do.
not always be good, but
I love that. So where can people find you?
Instagram, the KK23. I mean, I work for Capitol Music Group. Great part of my career. It's my favorite job so far. No offense to you.
So far.
So far.
She's got a long life to live.
I know, I got a lot more years.
Your
awesome.
mission is huge. Thank you, Cornell, for helping her share
Yep.
her story and her life.
It's all this one.
Yeah, thank you guys for
We
having me.
appreciate it.
This is great.
Stay tuned. We'll see more. We'll see more.
We'll see more. We'll see more.
Good morning, Hollywood.